People are hitting for over 5 billion with Spirit Wave. And with as many as 4 Bone Spirits summoned per second, that's 20 billion DPS. And they're still gearing up. Join my discussion thread on the official Discord to learn the most up-to-date information on all things Spirit Wave. That 5 billion number comes from Ranny here talking about their experience. If you want to find it, go to the Necromancer forum, type Spirit Wave, and it will pop up. What I want to talk today about is how my journey through Torment 3 and Torment 4 differs from the Maxroll guide. This Maxroll guide I just did a video on, and it's still the best resource. It's written by my buddy Sirach, and I'm pretty sure within a day or two, a lot of the changes I'm going to mention now are going to come into this guide. Let's talk about them. The first thing you'll notice about my gear is I have like tank stats on my offensive slots. While gearing up, I didn't have great intelligence to carry my resistances. To get these, I had to run like resistance on my necklace, resistance on my ring, resistance on my other ring. These gloves used to have armor on them, the ones I had just before this. I just updated them. I have a total armor temper on my neck. That's just to hit these resistance and armor caps. People who have gone straight damage really struggle when they hit tier 3 and everything just one-shots them. But if you build tank, you do enough damage basically as soon as you get to tier 3 to just plow through everything. And shortly after that, you'll be plowing through Torment 4. When I posted my video of my Pit 65 clear that unlocked Torment 4, I was only doing like 20 million damage Bone Spirits. Within 3 hours, I was doing 100 million damage Bone Spirits. As soon as I got weapons that didn't suck. Now, the tank stats are a big change. Just get the tank stats, worry about damage later. The other thing I want to point out is rune choices. Here it recommends, the 20% health rune word. This is the best rune word for us, period, bar none. But the second best is no longer Warcry. Look at my bar. I don't have Decrepify on it, and I don't have Coursed Aura. That's because I'm using the rune word that applies Decrepify for us. And this will apply it on mobs at the edge of the screen. It's fantastic for ensuring uptime on curses. And what you'll notice is that this applies Horrid Decrepify, the one that executes enemies when they're below 10% HP. That's effectively a 10% damage increase on anything that isn't a boss. Now you might be thinking like, well, but I need the cooldown reduction from the other version of Decrepify. Well, don't worry about that at all. If you put your point in Abhorrent Decrepify, the rune word will apply both the execute version and the Decrepify one for you. This is great in hordes where you're just like spinning around in a 360 spamming your spirit waves, and your cooldown on corpse tendrils is constantly coming up because everything's already cursed and you don't even waste a split second casting a curse. It's great. Another big change between myself and this planner is one of the tempers. This planner recommends macabre damage on every offensive slot. I think about half of these should be blood attack speed. One of the things about these bone spirits is when there's small mobs, when there's chaff, some of these bone spirits will go to waste. Meaning we need a couple extra a bit of extra attack speed so we have more bone spirits to do damage to the elites after the first couple bone spirits hit chaff. So getting up to around 80% attack speed is one of our key goals early on, and having a couple blood attack speed tempers can help. As you can see here, I bricked this. I was going for blood attack speed, and then I ended up with damage while fortified. And it's fine. You'll also notice that I have run Rathmos Chosen on one of my rings. This is the best aspect for Hordes and Helltides, assuming you're not overcapped on attack speed. I kind of am right now, and I'll show you what I mean. Attack speed is split into two categories, so when you add up all my attack speed on my ring, or for my blood attack speed, and you add the 15% attack speed I'm getting from Paranormal Bloodlance, I'm actually hitting 65% attack speed. So with Rathmos Chosen, I'm overcapping, and that's not ideal because 15% of it is being thrown out the window. And how much of a damage increase is Rathmos Chosen? Well, the math works like this. If you have 50% category 2 and 50% category 1, which is here, like, I only have 34%, but, example purposes, you end up with 150% attack speed. You have to add your 100% base and then divide it by the amount that you had prior to adding Rathmos Chosen. So if I take 250, divide it by 200, this Rathmos Chosen, in a ideal example, is only a 25% damage increase, like in total DPS. However, because it shoots 25% more bone spirits, and those bone spirits can clear chaff in Hordes and Helltides, I will use this at this amount every time. And if you're worried, well, what about boss DPS? Running this build, Horrid Decrepify, summoned by the rune word, doesn't apply to bosses. That's less DPS. Well, I got you covered. Instead of Rathmos Chosen, if you're going to pits or torment bosses, you run Imprisoned Spirit. Because we don't have Decrepify on our bar, we can benefit from both the 20% damage increase from Blight and the 80% damage increase from Imprisoned Spirit. Making this option of this rune word the best option for Hordes and Helltides and the best option for bossing. For Rathmos Chosen, I just swapped it out. I had a high roll Rathmos Chosen early. You might be able to get one from somebody because nobody cares about this aspect. And I either replace the Serration aspect or the Sacrificial aspect. Currently I'm replacing Sacrificial because I'm like ridiculously overcapped on crit. But you probably would want to replace Serration if you didn't get lucky and, randomly have an Heir of Perdition just drop for you. Alright. Now let's talk about Paragons. My Paragon boards are very similar to what's on Maxroll, with a couple key differences. The main ones being that once again, I rushed damage reduction. So this board here, Frailty, I entered backwards compared to the suggested way of entering on Maxroll's planner. I beelined for this resist all node and this shadow resist node. And you'll notice in my gear, I'm not using diamonds because I had bonuses to specific things like shadow resist wherever I could find them. That was here. I was grabbing shadow resist here. I'm grabbing these resist all nodes here. I was getting these resist all nodes here. These resist all nodes here. And I even went to Flesh Eater early to get these resist all nodes quickly here, and these max life nodes here. And speaking of max life nodes, my Blood Begets Blood board looks different. You can see I went down early to grab these max life nodes, which is different than what they recommend here. And the reason for this is not that Maxroll is wrong, it's that during the PTR, This said potion healing and was absolute trash. And this hasn't been updated. You can expect that my buddy Serac is going to fix this real quick. He's playing this build tomorrow, and we'll have it updated probably within 2 to 3 days to reflect that, this new max life tech. The one thing I'm not sure he'll agree with me on is rushing into Flesh Eater and grabbing these nodes, because the max life and resist all here was fantastic. There's a couple other small edits to Paragon. I used Amplify here over Sacrificial because as somebody who came from a minion build and might run minions or test things that might involve minions, I'm not sure if Bone Prison still has the Sacrificial bug. I ran Amplify since it's pretty similar to Sacrificial. It just works all of the time versus Sacrificial runs into hiccups whenever minions are involved. So that's one thing. Another is one of the first runes I leveled up was Corporeal, which used to be on my first board. And the reason I'm throwing into Flesh Eater here is Flesh Eater has a massive amount of additive damage that is just so freaking juicy on the magic nodes. That's another reason I like this Flesh Eater board, because the blue nodes are so good. I also should have probably gotten Bone Graft, and that's the next thing I'm going to grab. That's a long story. I don't want to go into that right now. But I rush tank. HP turns into damage for us, and everything you see here, I have conveniently put in a Maxroll planner. This is my current gear. This is not optimal gear. It includes the fact that I bricked my rings and got damage while fortified instead of attack speed. It includes that I have damage to cursed here instead of macabre damage that I was trying to roll for. And with it, you'll get to see how much, you'll get to see what I'm using to do the damage I'm doing. Let me head over to Kivishad real quick and just show you what it looks like against a dummy. Probably should have been over there. This was a little bit better for an intro. I'm trying to think if there's any other major things to go on about. I think I've covered everything. So thanks for watching. I'll just go over here, make this a boss dummy. I'm gonna throw multiple turning dummies up because it just makes the makes it easier to maintain certain things. Stand here so I have a little bit better room. There you have it. Millions popping up everywhere. It's working out. Looking pretty. If I throw this on, you won't see bigger numbers. You'll just see more of them. So I think I'm rambling at this point. Anyways, this Maxroll guide continues to be the best guide. I'm sure you'll see updates coming in our Spirit Wave discussion, and I'm sure Serac's going to update it pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Join the Discord. Like, subscribe, and I hope to post some tier 8 clears soon. Have a great day.